Welcome to Emerging Franchise Brands, the podcast that introduces you to the visionary founders of America's fastest growing franchise opportunities. We'll also hear from industry pros as they share insights on what it really takes to achieve the elusive milestone of 100 plus locations. I am your host, Frank Fumey, founder of I9 Sports, and my 20-year journey from inception to acquisition has given me a unique perspective on how to succeed in franchising. Join me as we welcome today's guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. On today's show, I have co-founder and chief education officer of Musicologie. I have Kay Barker on the show. Kay, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good, Frank. Thanks for having me with you.
It's great having you on, Kay. So you and your husband start Musicologie. We talked a little bit before the show. First of all, I love the name.
Thank you.
You're a newer company, and so interesting. You have 6 company-owned locations. We got 2 franchises in development. So we're going to take this conversation in a whole different direction and get in the world of starting out as this emerging franchise. And you're starting out at, ground zero, which is super exciting and probably challenging and nervous and all those other things. So we're going to get into all of that. But first, I'd like to hear on, how you and your husband started Musicologie. So what's the whole origin of this?
Okay, well, let's back up to, 2007. My husband and I met. We were both musicians in college, and we started making music together and hit the road. Decided to make music our career and lives and see what happened. So we toured the country with our band in a vegetable oil powered vehicle, all 48 lower 48 states for several years, and it was awesome. But also it's really hard to make ends meet as a traveling vagabond musician. So every working artist also tends to teach music on the side. So I started teaching music out of my own home and at some studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we lived. Oh. And I just realized that I love performing. Music is my passion, but teaching is what I was put on this earth to do. It is who I am. I am so passionate about it. So I just fell in love with it, and it sort of became more and more a part of my life. And I decided, this is it. I'm going to teach instead. Let's stop the vagabond thing. But again, it's just that side of it is really hard to make a career too. And I was working at other studios, working for other people, and just feeling that they weren't doing it right. They weren't treating our expert teachers, musician people like the highly skilled labor that it was. And they weren't creating what I saw was an opportunity to create this community of musicians, young and old, all different instruments. I mean, that's what's really cool about taking lessons at a studio instead of some old ladies, right. Living room, right? Which is where exactly. I took my piano lessons growing up. So I started Musicologie with my husband in 2014, and it was just me and a dream in this one small studio space with just 6 rooms. And then over the course of the next 6 years, we built 5 other studios in partnership with musicians in other communities. And it's been awesome. And we have these 6 really incredible musician homes, hubs for exactly, what our mission is, which is to create those communities. And so in 2020, which was an exciting year to do this, we were let's do this more. How can we come to more communities? Because more communities, more students, kids need these kind of places where they can really feel at home sure. and empowered. And teachers can build those careers too. Mm-hmm. So that's the long version, but here we are. Yeah.
That is great. First of all, so what instruments do you play?
So I play the piano and I sing, and a little bit of ukulele too. My husband does drums, piano, guitar, bass. He's a recording engineer and producer, and I think that's it. Yeah. Oh no, I play the bass as well too, the upright bass.
Nice.
And, yeah.
So you guys get started. You start by getting the studio. How do you start getting customers? Like you're starting out at ground zero. How does this thing all happen?
Yeah. I mean, the way we got customers then is pretty much the way we get customers now, which is word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
good SEO, and guerrilla boots on the ground marketing. You
Right.
know, back then, okay, it was a lot more guerrilla boots on the ground marketing because we didn't have a ton of money to do, other stuff. But from the beginning, my husband and I worked really hard to make our SEO and our website really, really optimize and look really good, show people, communicate with our online presence, what great teachers we have, what a great community we are. So I think that's kind of been a strength from the beginning, is that online and sort of our software.
Absolutely. That's important. So did you guys have a business background? I heard you about being musicians, but were you in business before, or did you guys come from maybe an entrepreneurial background, or were you encouraged as kids growing up in an entrepreneur family? What was life like growing up?
That's a good question, and it's a wishy-washy answer. I guess when you are a musician, that is a business, and it's awesome and fun to play music, but you also have to be really savvy about your image and about
Mm-hmm.
your marketing and your branding and getting the word out. So I feel like that was kind of a crash course in sort of general businessy type things. And otherwise, no, my parents are both chemical engineers, and Joseph's parents are theater professors. And so I don't know. I think it's just that I think the bottom line and the reason why we're here and the reason why we're excited to just like keep growing is that we just love building things, and we
Mm-hmm.
want to build awesome things with people that we're excited to build awesome things with. And so we have a third business partner. His name is Kyle. He was like our original guitar teacher, but now he does all of our software engineering. So I mentioned our SEO. Now we've kind of taken it the next step, and we have this amazing studio management software that we've developed and designed. We have no business doing that. We only have 6 studios. Like,
Right.
why do we have our own custom software? But we just really love building awesome things, and it's going to provide us a really great platform to grow from here. So
Well, yeah, it sounds like you're kind of laying a great foundation for what the future is going to hold in franchising. So you mentioned 2020. We kind of stopped from there. So
yeah,
was 2020, besides the obvious what happened in 2020,
yeah.
was that also the genesis of where franchising kind of popped in both of your heads? Like, hey, this is how we're going to expand our company.
Yeah, 2020 was really interesting. We had already decided to go the franchising route. I mean, our 6 studios they're partnership models. So it is really similar to franchising. It's a little bit different because we put in the capital to get it started, and
Okay.
we share a little bit more of the risk with those owners, but it's still that same, like, we're coaching, we're providing the framework to sort of owner operator kind of people. So we sort of already were there, and we were just like, why are we fighting against this? Franchising already exists. We
Right.
don't have to create our own model, like it is already a model. So we had already kind of made that decision in 2020. What 2020 did was, number one, show us what great leadership in the music lessons industry. A lot of studios really struggled that year because everything shut down, and they decided to shut down. We didn't shut down. We had a plan, and we switched immediately to online lessons pretty seamlessly, and it integrated with our software pretty seamlessly too. So we lost very few students, and we actually grew a ton that year, and realized, like, okay, what we have is different from what other studios have, and what we have is us. I guess. I mean, it's
Yeah.
our and processes, and the fact that we're building stuff constantly to make our studios better. So I think it kind of gave us the confidence to be like, yes, what we have is really solid, and
Mhm.
we're really excited about the next level of our expansion.
So I want to go back to this partnership model. So how long ago then did the
Yeah.
partnership model start? These company-owned locations.
Yeah, let's see. It started in 2018. We started with
Okay.
yeah, we opened up a second location in Columbus and tried to like run it ourselves.
Hmm.
And that was fine. But we were like, you know what? Let's find someone who's like embedded in the community. Let's find someone who loves this part of town and wants to be in this part of town and is passionate about where the location is. So for of our 6 locations were started as partnerships. And then we since actually converted that second location to a partnership model and kind of sold a portion of it to someone in the area.
Oh.
Music should be community focused, and so it shouldn't be a giant conglomeration. It should be a franchise. I don't know why it's not.
Yeah,
it should be. So,
and you know this. There are other music lesson type franchises that are out there. Yeah. I was reading a little bit about you, and I understand you guys are the largest music education company in Ohio.
Yes.
You guys have like 80 plus teachers in those 6 studios across Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. What do you think makes you guys, what makes Musicologie different that you've been able to have this enormous success in these 3 markets where there is a lot of competition?
Oh yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Okay,
go ahead.
So first of all, what makes us different is that we are traditional private music lessons like, like Mozart taught 100, 300 years ago. This is an old industry, and we're not trying to change anything about it. It's private classical piano, or it's jazz guitar, or, you want to sing like Adele, or you want to finger tap like Eddie Van Halen. Like, it's everything. It's not just one genre focused. It's all those things. And of course, we have like group programming too. We have rock bands, and we have early childhood classes for toddlers and their parents as well. But our core thing that we do, and the thing that we pride ourselves on doing the best, is our private lessons. And I think what makes that so successful for us is because we don't have to convince anybody. Like, there was a study by, I don't know, people who do study, I work at Rutgers or something like that, where they said 80% of parents believe that music lessons make their kids smarter and better in school, and it's not like just that these parents are making that up. It's true.
Sure.
Music is like good for your brain. Right. It's like superfood. And we don't have to convince anybody of that. And music lessons have been around for hundreds of years. We're not creating a new market. So, there are franchises that sort of take the group lessons or one genre focus, which is awesome, cool, but it's just not for everybody. And there are a lot of mom and pop places all over the country that are doing what we're doing, but on a smaller scale, and they just don't have the resources, the flexibility, or the support to do more, and all those programming things that we offer in support of our private lessons. I think it's that we're just not trying to mess things up. Right. We're trying to just bring great music lessons to everyone.
But you're also trying to really support the genre that the student is most interested in.
Exactly.
Right. And the instrument, because I understand you guys teach like pretty much every instrument that's out there.
Yeah. If we can find a teacher for you, well, you can take it at Musicologie.
Right.
Primarily it's piano, drums, guitar, voice. But yeah, we have accordion. We have like a 5-year-old accordion student. That student rocks. We have like banjo. Yeah, it's and that's what's lovely about private lessons, is that they're private, so it can go where the student needs to go, and it can be what the student needs it to be. We say every student deserves a great teacher. It's easy to be a good teacher for a student who just sits,
Right.
The kid who really needs it the most is the kid who's not just going to sit still and be like a passive sponge, and we want to be the place where every person can get really great music lessons and be inspired however they are inspired.
Sure. So this Musicologie method, right?
Yeah.
It's something I know you've trademarked. It's rooted in the safe environment and education through play, like having fun, right? Isn't that's
Exactly.
why we play to begin with, is to have fun.
I know. Yeah. Music makes us human. Like, it is just a part of our DNA.
Right.
Everyone loves music, so if there's my philosophy, starting off, even as a young teacher, was just that everyone loves music. So if this child isn't digging their piano lessons, that's on me. That's my fault, Like, music is awesome. So I have to find a way to communicate that to them. I guess, another one of our differentiators is that we sort of take an approach with our music educators that you're a great musician. Let's give you the tools of like childhood development psychology and give you the tools to teach like a 5-year-old piano, because that's a little bit different than
Right.
being a professional musician up on stage. So we have a lot of training and a lot of resources for our teachers to really help guide them to become even greater teachers and to be that really awesome teacher.
Does it come to be sometimes where if somebody's not enjoying it, that you've changed instruments and to be geared more towards what's more comfortable for them?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
yeah, what happens then?
It's well, if you are a single teacher out of your home, or you'd quit lessons and you maybe go find someone else. But at Musicology, you can actually cancel your lesson on our app really easily, one click, and then book a lesson on any instrument with any other teacher at any time. It makes it super easy and puts it in the hands of the students to do that, so it's not like a scheduling nightmare for everyone. And so we often have students who like book a drum lesson just for like one, week, and then they're like, "Oh, that was awesome. I want to
Mhm.
try that." And they can try it for they can cancel a couple of their lessons and try it for a little bit, or they can switch, or they can do both. That's what's great, is that it's a community, and it can be whatever you want it to be.
Cool.
So
Tell me about getting instructors. Is how much of a challenge is that?
it's, I get that question a lot, and it's surprising to me because as a musician, I know that every working musician is a teacher. Like, if you want to make this your job, you have to. Like, I know really like professional level, gigging guitar players in like famous bands that you would recognize their names, who still teach lessons. So it's not a challenge.
Hmm.
I mean, I think the challenge is keeping them and creating a space where they feel empowered to grow and don't get stuck in their ways, and also like can build a career and feel like they're building something bigger for themselves too. That's what we do a little bit differently. Sort of industry standard is to do 1099, like contractor
Hmm.
sort of things for our teachers. We encourage our locations to do W-2 and give benefits and make it a real job, because it really is. And when
Sure.
you're teaching, you've had 20 years of experience on your instrument or more, like those are people who deserve a good living wage.
Right.
So,
Yeah. All right. Let's talk franchising. So,
okay.
so here we are. We've got these 6 corporate-owned locations. You've got one of them, I understand, is going to be converted to your first franchise. Congratulations. And the same folks that are buying this, who are converting to a franchise, are also going to be opening up another location. Where's the new location going to be?
It's going to be another suburb of Columbus.
Okay.
Uh, we think we have a couple more territories there that we can still do. So we'll be at 6 or 7 locations around Columbus.
All right. So before you franchised, I mean, there was obviously a few different ways of going. And I heard you mention a little bit earlier, you're like, this kind of feels like a franchise. What about
Yeah.
it just felt like, you know what, franchising is the right way for you to go?
Yeah. Let me think about that. Because, like I said, I mean, we sort of realized we are essentially doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give ourselves the benefit of this platform that already exists. But I think actually the point when I realized this is right, this is where we should be, is when it was actually, we had just inked our first FDD and we went to the International Franchising Expo
Mm-hmm.
in New York. And we had a little booth there. I had a piano and I like played, and it was just incredible. Like, the community there was so supportive, and I had a bajillion incredible conversations with just random people. I mean, that's what's beautiful about music, is that
Mm-hmm.
everyone has a personal connection and a personal story.
True.
But it was just surprising to me to go to a business conference and like have these incredibly powerful conversations with people of all stripes, and just felt like super supportive, super supported by that community in general. And it's a really lovely group of people in franchising.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to be a part of this. And I just love the idea. I mean, it dovetails with our mission, which is to empower people to, go into business for themselves, but not by themselves. I mean, that's just, again, it's just like what
Right.
we've been doing. So you hear that, and I heard it and I was just like, yes, my
Right.
people.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
I imagine there's people that are watching or listening to the podcast that are thinking of franchising their concept.
right.
So, Kay, before you got that FDD done, the franchise disclosure document, did you seek outside counsel? I kind of want to get your story of while you were exploring franchising.
Yeah.
And who did you lean on other people? Something that you and your husband just kind of did your research and find a franchise attorney? What was it like, the whole origin of getting to that point where you got an FDD done?
Yeah, we actually have a musician friend in Columbus who is also an attorney, a franchising
Okay.
attorney. He has a sort of small but successful franchise business. So we talked to him first and sort of said, "Hey, we're thinking about this. Could you just look? Because we don't even know, like, is this a good idea to franchise? We don't. It's been successful for us, but what do you think?" And he said he kind of looked at what would eventually become our FDD numbers and was like, "Yeah, this looks great. I mean, it sounds like you really have a lot of stuff." So we interviewed a few consultants to help us write our FDD and ended up going with Michael Side, mostly because he said, "I'll tell you if I don't think you should be a franchise." And which we were like, great. Like, we're not here to like get our backs padded, like we want to know, is this going to be successful, or does it have that chance? So he came aboard and we had lots of conversations with him about what that FDD might look like, and he really encouraged us that what we had was viable. So
Mm-hmm.
that was great. I think, like, looking back on it, obviously, like, the music lessons industry, we know it like the back of our hand, like we know it so deeply. But obviously you're going into the franchising business and that's another business. Thinking about it as a completely separate business was a thing that I wish it hadn't taken me as long
Mm-hmm.
to realize that was
Oh,
what I do.
no, that's okay. You got the lesson, it sounds like. And,
Yeah.
that's probably, if you look at the amount of new franchisors that, enter the industry, you hear different numbers, 250, 400 that start in a year. I would say that probably in all my years of talking with franchise companies, the biggest misconception that a franchisor has is not realizing that they are in a completely new business altogether.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that
Totally.
you got that before even awarding your first franchise. But let's face it,
Yeah.
Kay, you and your husband are no longer, I don't want to say no longer in the music business, you are, but you are in the business now of truly making franchisees successful. And
Yes.
the vehicle that you're using just happens to be your passion. You love music, right? So
Totally.
yeah, like mine was sports. I loved sports, and that was my passion. It's what
Yeah.
drove me to franchise my company. But I quickly learned once I started awarding franchises, this has nothing to do with sports. What
Yeah.
the conversations that you're going to find that you're going to have with franchisees are going to be, it's about marketing, which
Right.
you're already doing. It's going to be about
Right.
managing the business. You're already doing it. It's going to be managing the
Yeah.
finances. It's going to be talking about technology. It's going to be talking about operations and hiring and scaling. Really all the things that you maybe did, but now that's going to be on the forefront.
Well, and I absolutely, I'm glad that we have sort of learned that lesson. And also, I do think that compared to other emerging franchisors, we have a little bit of a leg up because, again, that is essentially what we were doing. Like,
Yeah.
I have been out of the teaching game essentially for quite a while now, and we
Mhm.
have been coaches for our, corporate partners. And also, our superpower is that, okay, so I'm not a teacher of 5-year-olds anymore, but I am an educator. My husband's an educator. This is what we love to do. We love to educate.
Right.
And that coaching side of our relationships right now is really, really awesome for me to see people who, I mean, especially right now, because some of our owners they were just teachers as well, and they don't know anything about business, so teaching them about, what's a P&L and how much did you spend on marketing, and, let's talk through personnel stuff. I created a whole suite of sort of teacher management tools for our owners. Teacher coaching, what happens if you get, some negative feedback, rather than taking it as a negative thing and holding on to it for, their eventual dismissal. Like, let's use this as like an opportunity, again, to grow and to learn. And so providing those like frameworks, building that sort of behind the scenes stuff for our owners has been really exciting, and definitely something that we are excited to do more of as we grow. So, but yeah, I mean, I think like number one, knowing that, okay, franchise business is different than music business.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, it doesn't end with the FDD. Just because you
Right.
got an FDD in your hand doesn't mean squat.
Right. Anybody can get that done.
Not done spending money. You're not done investing in this thing, and you got a lot. You got a lot of legwork to put in before you take that next step into actually having a franchise.
Right.
So,
Well, you do have, of course, the advantage of having those partnership deals. So you understood already what it was like having to feel responsible for other people, right? And responsible for their success. Yes.
yeah,
We always say in franchising, like you said earlier, the old cliche of, you're in business
I
for
love
yourself,
that.
but not by yourself. Yes, that's true. But at the same time, I always felt as the franchisor, I felt the weight on my shoulders of making people successful. Like I wanted them to win so freaking bad. And I would run through a wall for my franchisees so that they would win, but I can't do the work for them, right? I can't get up in the morning for them. They need to do it. I think the advantage, of course, again, you have by having those partnerships and understanding the interesting dynamic of working with people. Of course, franchising is going to be a little different for you because it's going to be even a little more hands-off because you don't want to get involved in any kind of, joint employer violations or anything like that. So that'll be, a new, it'll be a new angle for you. Have you thought about really, who do you think is going to be your ideal franchise owner? What does that avatar look like?
Yeah, we have thought about that a lot. I think that first and foremost, it's just going to be someone who really cares about community and about kids. You
Mm-hmm.
know, everyone loves music. Music is a part of our human DNA. So to say that it's someone who loves music, I think is just sort of silly because yeah. But someone who has a passion for their community and a passion for kids, and we're sort of thinking about parents, people who have kids and who understand how much it is important to parents to have their kids in things like this. I mean, you understand. I'm sure it's pretty similar. So I think we're also looking for someone who wants to build multiple communities. I'd really like to narrow in on 2 or 3 studios, someone who wants to build something with us. That community is awesome, but like, let's build you a business. So finding someone who has sort of connections in their neighborhood, but also has designs for something bigger is exciting to me. Yeah, other than that, we have our first franchisees are parents, and they are in marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and they have really great leadership abilities. They are not musicians, not professional at least, but they love music. Their kids are taking lessons. So I think it's that kind of person, a person who has a corporate background, maybe marketing would be really ideal
Right.
for musicology.
Yeah. And I'm not telling you anything you probably don't already know, but because you probably have heard of this, I know you were at Springboard at the
Yeah.
franchise conference, which I want to get into.
Yeah.
We always say in franchising how important the first, 10 to 12 franchisees are that you pick because, okay, it's going to set the culture, right, of your brand.
Yeah. Well, and we are so much about culture too.
I can
It's
tell.
really important. So yeah, I mean, of course, it's going to be hard to say no to someone who's saying yes, but you're absolutely right. It does have to be someone who gets it
Mm-hmm.
and who understands. Luckily for us, a lot of people understand.
Right. Right.
you know, People understand like how great music lessons are, and it's pretty easy to see if you walk in our doors that community and that support. And so we'll see who we
Yeah.
get. Let
Well,
me know if you're interested. But yeah, we're really excited to bring this whole idea of community to other communities outside of Ohio.
yeah, you and your husband are going to have to deal with the telling people no. It's going to be hard. It was never easy. It wasn't easy for me. It hasn't been easy for anybody when you're starting out
Yeah.
because you want to grow this thing. And you're like, but I want this person to be really good. Like I like them. I quickly found out that just because I liked somebody didn't necessarily make them to be the right franchise owner. And then the other thing is when you're starting out, the first 10 franchisees or 12 or 25, they are going to be a little more entrepreneurial. Let's face it, they're going to be risk takers. For them to take a chance on you,
Totally.
right? They're a little more willing to take a risk than somebody who's been around, who's going to be your 100th franchise. That person's going to look totally different.
Yeah, totally. And I think there are other franchising music sort of child focused businesses, but we are definitely sort of breaking into the one specific niche of this market. And
Right.
so it's going to need to be people who believe and trust and are excited about what we're building. And you're right. I mean, we're looking for someone bold right now. Go with us where we believe we can go. So yeah, I'm excited to find those people. We've been talking, it's been really fun to talk with just like strangers about your business,
Right.
that our first franchisees here are their kids take lessons with us and they're in our community. So they already know, they already get us, So it's been really fun to just talk with people who have no idea. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, let me explain to you.
Right. What's your goal for 2024? How many franchises would you like to sign up?
Okay, so I've had to answer this question a bit. And I would say that 10 is a number that I know we could slam dunk.
Okay.
We have the systems, we could support 10, no problem. So that would be nice. But also, I don't want to rush those 10, So
Right.
I will be happy growing a little bit slower now to make sure that we really truly have the right people and we really are building a foundation with people, like I said, that we're excited to build with. So it's a kind of a struggle between those two sides of me. I'd love to grow. I know that we have the systems to grow faster, but it's not the systems that I'm worried about. It's the picking the right people. So.
Is that the biggest challenge that you're feeling like I kind of want to get in your head as a new founder of this franchise operation? Like what keeps you up at night?
Nothing keeps me up. I sleep quite well.
Great.
But no, it is the finding the right person and knowing, okay, am I asking the right questions? Also, it's a partnership, and I want these people to feel, whoever those people end up being, I want them to feel a part of something big and a part of the beginning here of something big. So I guess what I think a lot about is, how should those first conversations go? How can I be honest with them, and how can I communicate quickly and succinctly really what we're about? So I guess that's what I spend a lot of my time
Good.
thinking about. Yeah.
I think you focus on the right things. I think focusing on the transparency as a leader on here's where we are, here's what's going well, here are the challenges, here are the things that I know we need to work on next. I think puts people's minds at ease, especially if you're looking to invest in a franchise, because as somebody that's looking to invest as a potential franchisee, I just hear, oh, you're a franchise, and assume you've got all the systems and process together, which you do have you have the Musicologie method, you have your software, and you have a lot of things, but let's face it, still you will be new. And I think just communicating that and absolutely embracing who you are, embracing the core values. And I don't think you could talk about caring about the community and kids enough. Like that's just something that's who you are. You've mentioned it many times in the past, half hour or so, that I think that you just continue to hammer that home is so important to bring on the right person and not being afraid to tell somebody no. And it could be for a variety of reasons. Go ahead.
Because I feel like, I'm going to be honest, my biggest problem in those conversations is that we have so much stuff that we built I don't know how to boil it down. We have like we have a whole grand opening marketing strategy to get people to break even
Hmm.
at day one
Great.
open. Complex, like a whole fully fleshed out day by day to-do list, grand opening marketing plan. And we have social media guides and email marketing strategies and business to business partnership
Hmm.
strategies. And digital ads is just like we plug you into our ads that are already functioning. You just say how much, and we have that all really dialed in. We just have so much stuff. We have our software.
Right.
We have like of course, like our curriculum,
Hmm.
um, and teacher tools for finding them. We have teacher auditions. You see what I mean? Like, I just can't. I feel like I want to be like, okay, yes, we are brand new, but we have 6 locations and we are running them
Yes.
already off of all of these systems. So, like, that's my struggle is how do I narrow this down? Because I could get bogged down talking about that, but really what I want to talk about is the
Hmm.
kids,
But I think first of all, everybody has to plays a different role, right, in your company. Your husband's the
Yeah.
CEO, so he's going to be talking about the vision of the company probably, and be talking about the aspects on growing the business and the level of
Right.
support. And you're the chief education officer. You're going to be talking about the kids and education, and talking about the teachers and education of the kids and the musicology method.
Yeah.
Your business, believe it or not, is kind of similar to what I did, in that
Ah,
I had a thing called the countdown to game time. And what
okay.
it was 120 days from the time you came to training to opening day. So for me, like I had so many tools, and there was so many things that I needed to teach you. But I think, hey, what helps people is we want to teach them in the order of which they need to know, because
Yeah.
your franchisee doesn't need to know everything day one. They need to know what's relevant today. So
Yeah.
we know, number one, the most important thing is they're going to have to get customers, right?
Right.
They've got right. So it's obviously going to be key for them to do the marketing, but at the same time, they're going to be doing something in a parallel strategy. They're going to have to be getting teachers while they're
Yeah.
getting kids at the same time, but they don't need to know everything at once. And maybe even tiering your education or tiering the training. And we did like a phase 1 training and a phase 2 training, just because somebody leaves training and their mind is exploding.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's like
God.
here's my entire
Yeah,
business.
they would come into training day one, phase 1, day one. They're super excited. They're nervous. They don't know what they don't know.
Uh,
And you know what, kind of ease them in. And by day 5, you can see sort of the glazed over look, like,
yeah.
don't feed me any more information. And oh
Just
yeah, but they're super excited. Like they want to run through that wall to
yeah.
get started. But we know we haven't given them everything. But this is where you and your experience comes in, where you have to temper and say, I need them to know this right now. I need them
Right.
to know this for the next 60 days. I need them to
Yeah.
know this, 90 days out, or whatever the target is from the time that they're going to, legitimately, like, you want to target opening their business.
Right.
So I think
Yeah.
that comes with, it's going to come with your own experience for having these 6 company locations, which is amazing because, again, they're partnerships. They weren't just you and your husband running them. You're going to kind of feel your way around when you're teaching people. Do they have that glazed over look? Did I give them too much?
I know that look.
Yeah. Oh, we've
A lot of 6-year-olds faces.
yes, yes. It's that look. That is the look we're talking about. So
Don't like that look.
no,
Yeah.
no. So it is going to be in timing. So you guys will temper it and say what do they need to know right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. I think you're right. And I think like and in those very first conversations, being being like, yes, we have systems for that, rather
Yeah.
than I don't have to go into here's how a teacher audition go.
Right. And they're going to ask you those questions probably in
Yeah.
discovery day or through the sales process. Well,
Yeah.
you're going to be happy to share everything with them. But then when it comes time to training, that's when you're going to have your own system
Yeah.
for when they need to know.
They need, yeah.
Because you
That's
want
good.
them to know everything at once, but they just
I
they
know.
can't
I'm
digest it
just like,
all.
I've made all this stuff here.
Right, right. But they won't be able to digest it all. And that's fine. I think though, if you hit a lot of the headlines, the headline you said earlier, I thought was great. And that was something about making them profitable by grand opening or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really what you just said. It's a 270-day plan to break even by by day one.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the headline right there.
Yeah.
It's the 270 day to breaking even. Here's how we do it.
Yeah.
And
And
you
we've
take
used
it
it
in
in our
phases.
studios already. Done.
Exactly.
Headline, subtitle. Okay. I like thinking about it in headlines. That's really helpful, actually. I'm going to do that.
Yeah,
Do that.
I think it'll help. I think it'll really
Yeah.
help. So, so have you thought about, obviously you've thought about training because you've got training in your FDD. So how long is like that phase one training? Is it in classroom? Is it virtual? How does it work?
Yeah, it is in person. It's 5 days, and we have a day on marketing, a day on the financials, so just sort of in general, what do the finances of a studio, a membership model,
Great.
sort of finances go, and then our system and processes for students, and then our teachers, management, and then just a sort of wrap up day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, we're educators, so I feel I'm really, I've gone through it a couple times now, and it's really exciting. So I feel really good about it. But you're right. I like the idea of maybe thinking about doing a little bit spread out. We do also have online training,
Mm-hmm.
so we do that for our teachers and our managers as well. We have online training courses and tests and quizzes and stuff that people take before they even come in to teach or manage or be franchisees. So there's some of that too, but it is just a lot of information. So
Sure. We evolved that way too. When I
yeah,
first started, I did the 5 day training in the
yeah,
classroom. And then we evolved into, oh my God, there's so much for them to know that
yeah,
we did pre-training. So before they came, there were pre-training materials that they needed to be prepped
yeah.
before they got to the classroom. So they had a base foundation.
When we're
Also,
going like out on opening day and to be there, a couple weeks
sure.
ahead to sort of do retraining, I think, make sure that when it comes down to actually using the software and doing it, that they're feeling really solid. But did
Right.
you guys do you do that with I-9?
Yeah, we did do that with I-9. So we did the prep training, then we did the phase one in the classroom, and then we did a phase two training where the franchisee actually went to another franchise.
Oh,
And we did
cool.
it in a group. So we brought the whole training class to one of the other franchise locations at the games, at the field. They got to see like logistically how everything happens. And then obviously for their opening day, someone was there. They had the support to be able
Yeah.
to run it. And I think if somebody can see from your first initial franchisees can maybe go to the partner franchise location, company owned locations and kind of see how it works. Because
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I learn better by like doing,
Wait,
I have to see, I have to feel it. I have to actually be doing it. I learn it at a whole
yeah.
nother level.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. And when we do that with our managers too, right now, it's you go in and you shadow someone and you do it yourself. So of course we should do that for our franchisees.
Yeah. And just remember the things that you're talking about, you're going to be having these repetitive conversations, the marketing and the finance. It's not like, oh, hi, I'm teaching this on day 3 and now you got it and I'll never have to tell you again. Have a good night. No, you're going to
Yeah.
be reminding them. It sounds like though you created a financial model though. It's like sort of like a cash flow planner, right? On how the numbers work.
Yeah, and built into our software too is studio health sort of KPIs all
Yeah.
built in. Really easy to sort of see, compare your studio to our average and all of those KPI numbers. But we also have, in the lifetime of a membership model business,
Mm-hmm.
like we are, there's sort of 3 tiers where you're sort of at the beginning, it works a little bit differently just because students who have been there longer tend to be more likely to stay. So as you grow, you're actually much more stable. So anyway, there's things to know about what to expect from your studio given what sort of student numbers you're at any given point,
Right.
and what you should be planning for the next level, right? Because what issues you have right now are issues that need to be solved, but also you need to be keeping your eye on, okay, well, once you get to this next tier, this is going to be your issue. Here's what you're going to be needing to focus your energy and your time, making sure that you are ready for those before they come crashing down on you.
Hey, you got this. You know this.
We
You know this.
got
You
this.
got this.
Yeah. Well, we really are. I mean, my husband and I are musicians, and we have this business because it's our passion and our life. Like, I'm not gonna sell this and go open another franchise. I don't know what I would
Mm-hmm.
do. Like, this is my life. This is
Mm-hmm.
my passion. Like I said, like performing is great, but this is my DNA. So we're in it.
That's
100.
awesome. This is going to be fun. I'm excited to kind of watch you guys and observe from afar and kind of see how this whole thing evolves.
Yeah, well, we'll keep you posted. And I'll
That
see you at the
would be great.
next well, maybe not springboard if you want to remain
I will.
married.
No, I will. No, no. My wife is good with going to
You
springboard
gonna
again, even
come
though her
back?
birthday, even though it's on her birthday. Yes, she's good with
Yeah.
going. Yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay,
yes.
good.
Yep. No, she enjoyed it. We had a great time. What did you think of springboard? So you must have been like,
Yeah,
I feel like you were learning from a fire hose, right? Because they were
I
great,
know.
great topics.
Springboard was really cool. I like the energy of it. Of course, it's tailored to a sort of slightly younger and emerging franchisor. So I just had a lot of really good conversations with other people in really similar places to me.
Hmm.
I went to the IFA. That was really awesome, and you get to learn from people who are sort of several steps down the line. And Springboard, I felt like you know where I am now. That's nice. Plus, like the energy, I think the speakers had a lot more, I don't know, oomph, maybe
Right.
not, but it felt like it. So yeah, it was a really fun time.
I was amazed on how many franchisors were there, had no franchise locations that were starting out. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, they asked people by a show of hands how many
yeah,
franchisors had no locations. There were a lot of people there that were starting out. Yeah, I mean, I wish that I had been to a conference before I had, any
yeah.
locations and learned from other people. And I didn't have that opportunity in 2003. I
It's
think,
true. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. I like that we sort of decided and we jumped in, and now
mhm,
it's like, all right, we better swim.
no choice now.
But it's super helpful to go to those conferences. So I don't know whether I feel like I might have gotten scared off if I had gone before I had sort of already made the decision.
That's a good
But
point. I could see
it's
that
really,
overwhelming. I could see that
yeah.
happening to somebody. That's a really good observation.
Well, there was someone, I don't know, maybe it was Simon Sinek or something, who said, like, I'm glad I didn't know how much work it was going to take to get to where I am right now, or else I wouldn't have done it.
That's
That's how I
true.
feel franchising is. It's like you make that decision and you go, and you know it's going to be hard work, and you're not going to know where that hard work is going to be necessarily, but it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But taking that first step and going was really great. And then once you're already in the deep end, it's really nice to look around and find other people there with you too.
There's
So
plenty of other people. You don't have to go at it alone. You have tons of resources, of course, the IFA and all these
yeah.
conferences. There's nothing that you're going to experience that somebody hasn't already had to deal with.
Yeah, and
So,
like I said, I mean, from the very first moment at the International Franchising Expo, like, the community is just so supportive. There's just never been a question, no matter how like bold or maybe like
mhm,
inappropriately like focused, and but that people haven't been totally completely open to answering.
yeah,
It's because it's the franchise model is to let's all grow together. We all
absolutely. Yeah,
you know
my biggest takeaway of being at Springboard after not being at a franchise conference in several years was nothing has really changed in terms of what the priority. The priority has always been the franchise relationship, and the franchise unit economics, making sure franchisees are successful. What has changed, and what I was pleasantly surprised with, were the amount of new technology and new resources there are to helping franchisees be successful. But at the end of the
yeah,
day, it still came down to the dynamic of that franchise or franchisee relationship and making sure they're making money. Everybody's happy.
it feels like there's new softwares and things out there all the
There
time
are.
to be learning about, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a great community. It's just been really, really cool to be a part of it. So
Great. Okay, if someone was interested in learning more about musicology, how can they get information on this franchise?
you can go to musicologiefranchising.com. Musicology is spelled with an IE at the end. Yeah, click on it. There's videos, there's lots of information about, what we are, what the music lessons space is, and you can give us your info and find even more stuff on that website. So yeah,
Great.
love to hear from anyone who is excited about their communities and bringing awesome, simply delightful music lessons to kids in their neighborhoods. So thank
That's
you so much.
awesome. Oh, it's great having you on the show. I'm not going to let you off the hook, though. I end every show with the tip jar. The franchise community is so generous. And even though you're brand new to franchising, I want you to give a piece of advice that you would give to somebody who is looking to franchise their concept. What's maybe something, a tip or trick that you've learned that you would say, if I was looking to franchise my company, you would tell me what I need to do?
Like I said, I would say know that it doesn't stop with the FDD, and make sure that you are not working in your business right now. You need to be ready to be working in the franchising business. And if your business can't function without you, then create those systems and processes so that it can. That's what I would say.
That is fantastic advice. That is like franchise veteran kind of advice right there.
I am a franchise veteran. I got almost 2 locations, Frank. I am.
That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, it was a pleasure talking with you. I wish you all the best and success with franchising, Musicologie, and thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks, Frank. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.